आक्रामक, पीड़ित, दर्शक और सहयोगी, इन शब्दों से आपकी क्या समझ है? उदाहरण के तौर पर मानिए कि एक आदमी को किसी गाड़ी ने टक्कर मारी है। इस हालत में गाड़ी चलाने वाला आदमी है आक्रामक और जिसे चोट लगी है वह है पीड़ित। ऐसे में जो जाकर पीड़ित की मदद करेगा वह होगा सहयोगी, जो जाकर आक्रामक का सामना करेगा वो होगा टकराव करता।
अबे दिक्कत नहीं करते हो? आगे सीधे ठोक दिया? अबे पागल हो गया क्या तू? अबे ये क्या किया तूने?
लेकिन ऐसे मौकों पर कुछ लोग ऐसे भी होते हैं जो चुपचाप खड़े सब देखते रहते हैं लेकिन मदद का हाथ आगे नहीं बढ़ाते। इन्हें हम कहेंगे दर्शक। आपके जीवन में जब आपका किसी के साथ टकरार या झगड़ा होता है, ऑफिस में, परिवार में या दोस्तों के साथ, तब आप इन पांचों में से कौन सी भूमिका निभाते हैं? क्या आपने कभी अपने सामने भेदभाव होते देखा है? यदि हाँ, तो तब आपने कौन सी भूमिका निभाई? हमने ये सवाल कोलंबिया की एक शांति निर्माता से पूछा।
When I was at school, I had like a new Discman. I don't know if you've heard about those. Those were like the thing at that time. And there was this girl that was like the leader of the girls group, and she was like very sweet with me and everything, so that I could lend her like my device. And then when she had the device, she was like, okay, now you go. Like she didn't wanted me to be part of it. She just wanted what I had, so I felt like, I don't know, that I was only worth it because of the things I had, not because of me as a person. That was at school. And the last one, I think it's like the one I felt the most in abroad, is that when I say I am Colombian, 75% of the time I hear narcos, or if I have drugs or something, and I don't know, I feel really targeted, because I feel that not one stereotype of a Colombian should define the whole country. So I am born in a generation that is, I would say, badly named as the crystal generation, because we are very sensitive. But what I do feel is that there is a lot of strength and willingness to protest for our own rights. And in my case, sometimes when I go out to social events with my parents or with people from older age, they tend to have very strict and very rigid opinions about sensitive topics like abortion. And sometimes me having people that have gone through the process or that are actively involved in like protests and understanding their story, I sometimes, just because I don't want to cause a scene or because I don't want my family to look bad in front of these people, I decide not to say anything. I do find myself a lot in situations where I am with my friends and they are asking for advice because they feel, I don't know, they are not heard within their families, or they have trouble in their relationships, and I do tend to help them like acknowledge their feelings, also telling them that what they feel is valid, is completely normal, and just giving them, I don't know, a shoulder to cry on, or like a safe place where they can actually reveal what they are feeling without feeling judged. So there's something that really triggers me, and it is when people give opinions about other people's bodies. I always tend to be a confronter in these type of cases, especially like, for example, with my mom. So in a Latino environment, it's very common that you see families criticizing the bodies of the family members or of any other people. And for me, that has been like the moment where I say I cannot stand this. And right now, like for example, seeing how my mom right now confronts my aunt, because before I used to confront her and now she confronts my aunt and says like, let them be, let them have their body, you don't have to say in this. It makes me feel really happy and understand why sometimes assuming this role as a confronter is important. I know what you mean, and I think that has happened to me. You know, sometimes with aspects that are happening in the world, I tend to become an ally with the people I feel closer to, or also like with, I don't know, certain genocide situations happening. I tend to always look at the underdog or the population that is going through like a tougher time, but also in this process I tend to share also posts that harm the other part and the other community. When this happened to me actually like 2 months ago. I met someone that was like part of the community that is supposed to be like the aggressor community, and I saw in him a human being, and then that made me also reflect on the things I share in social media and how those same things can encourage violence in the other way.
बहुत आसान है खुद को सिर्फ एक ही भूमिका निभाते हुए सोचना, लेकिन जो उदाहरण हुआनिता ने हमारे साथ साझे किए हैं उनसे हमें ये शिक्षा मिलती है कि कोई भी इंसान हमेशा सिर्फ आक्रामक या हमेशा पीड़ित नहीं होता। हम सब अपनी जिंदगी में कभी ना कभी आक्रामक, कभी दर्शक, कभी पीड़ित, कभी सहयोगी और कभी टकराव करता होते हैं। हम आशा करते हैं कि हमारा ये वीडियो आपको आत्म जागरूक बनने के लिए प्रेरित करेगा, ताकि जब भी आप किसी के साथ टकराव या झगड़े की परिस्थिति में हो तब आप इस बात पर गौर करें कि कहीं आप आक्रामक की भूमिका तो नहीं निभा रहे, और आप इस बात पर भी ध्यान दें कि कैसे आप अपनी दर्शक की भूमिका को सहयोगी या टकरावकर्ता की भूमिका में बदलें, कैसे आप हिंसा के कभी ना खत्म होने वाले चक्र को तोड़ें। अगर आपको हमारा ये वीडियो पसंद आया हो तो इसे लाइक और शेयर करें और हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करना ना भूलें।